Well, here we are again, ready to do some model train work on the station a little bit more. Of course, I couldn't resist running a train tonight. Hey, there's a dude hanging out on the platform of the caboose now, isn't there? Yeah, I brought some of my dudes out here. And a few chicks. Anyway, why don't you follow me through the introduction and we'll come back and get started on the station. Okay, now we're ready to start putting in windows and doors. And I'm even going to show you how to make the glass. The glass isn't very hard to make. It's, in fact, it's pretty easy to make. And it's pretty easily accessible. You don't have to go to the hobby shop and buy a $10 piece of clear styrene from Evergreen Styrene. And you don't have, if you don't live near a hobby shop, you don't have, all it takes is living near a grocery store or a Sam's Club or something of that nature. Not very difficult to do. So, let's hop to it here. Let's see. Alrighty. Now, with these particular sliding doors, you don't really have to worry too much about too much trim, but on this end here, you'll want to take and you want to clean that and get all the paint off of that. And do the same inside the building if you primer inside the building. And these big ones, they go on the bottom if you happen to be building the same structure I am. Alrighty. Pretty easy to do. Actually, it's this side here. you want to be able to drop the door into that. If you want your doors to be sliding. If not, just glue them in place and be done with it. But you just take and you scrape the paint off on the part that you know is going to be alrighty. And you don't have to get it perfect. It helps if you do, but you don't have to get it perfect. You want to turn the structure up toward you there, where you can see what you're doing. And you get it in there. Alrighty. And you just get it glued in place. Pretty easy to do. And give it a few seconds. When you trim this, you don't need to worry about repainting it because nobody's gonna see. That's gonna be inside the slot there. Alrighty. Then these thin ones are the ones that go to the top. Amazing. Beautiful structure. Yeah. And I may not make these so they open, so. Probably I should have scraped the paint off but you know, you can work it down into the paint too, and it'll usually stick just as well. Alrighty. There's supposed to be a locating lug in there somewhere, but I don't see it. But that'll also act as a stop for the door. All right. Maybe line that up with the top of the wall there. Like I said, just rub it back and forth a little bit, and that the solvent will go ahead and break through the paint since you're kind of squeezing it there. And then the next thing you know, you'll have a good joint there. But make sure it stays, because you know, a lot of these larger or longer pieces of plastic, they warp on you. And we've got that one in place. That door is now in place. Hey, it's beginning to look like a building, isn't it? Then the next one we need should be this one right here. That's just based on where I'm starting from. So, in this episode, you know, we're just basically doing the doors and windows. Not hard to do at all. Now you want to get the little nubs off of it, you know, where it was attached to the sprue. Again, that's going to be in a place where nobody's going to see it. You don't have to get the paint 100% off of it, but you need to get enough of it off that the plastic is going to go against the plastic. You want to come in here and scratch it down at least to the plastic. Again, it'll have some movement in there, they usually do, and it'll but what that does is it pulls some of the paint off. Yeah, I know they tell you clean it completely, but that's never really a necessity. You just need enough plastic there to hold it. Alrighty. And you come on in with your plastic weld cement. They call it cement. It's actually a solvent. And believe me, it'll eat through the paint. That certainly is not an issue. And it's actually basically in. You want to give it time to dry, of course. It's important. Alrighty, let's see here. Oh. Yeah, alright. Well, ain't that something? Okay, these are tall doors. They're made for humans going in and out of, to go in and out of the station. This short door goes on the other side of the freight of the freight end. So you need the taller door. Need a taller door there. Yes, I looked at the instructions briefly. You know, really, the instructions do serve a purpose, and you should look to them if you run into something that you're not fully understanding. But even on a simple kit like this, there's going to be certain things you're not going to understand. I realize that maybe you've built a few design preservation kits or whatever. In HO or N especially, because that's where they released most of their structures. They did very, very little stuff in O scale. Yes, that wears your blades out on your X-Acto knives. Nothing new there. They've been doing that for how many years? Okay. Yeah, I noticed the color of the doors doesn't exactly match the color of the wainscot. And I just move the door back and forth and up and down, and it's in. Pretty simple prospect there. Now the smaller windows go on the bay window, but you need a large single window here, a tall single window. We've got those all along here. We got some shorter windows. I believe one of these actually goes, I don't know, let's see here. No, that's the tall double. That would be this one here. Okay. But you need a single tall window to go right here. They, for some reason, didn't mold that door and window in as one piece. Back in the day, they didn't always do things that would have made sense by today's standards. Of course, they don't make kits the same way today like they did back in the 1960s and 70s. And most O-scalers would never have bought a plastic kit in those days anyway. They would have bought a wood kit or a paper kit or something of that nature. But they would have never bought a plastic kit. Oh, a few might have, but plastic kits, especially amongst the craftsmen in the O-scale hobby, and you got to remember, the 3-rail guys didn't count then. O-scale was strictly a 2-rail club or an outside 3rd rail club, pretty much, and that's what they called O-scale. Back in those days, they defined O-gauge as toy trains. Now, I realize that we gotta look at this. Yeah, these trains are toys. All right. And they're our toys. They're more adult toys these days. No. You get in there. You're going to get in there. There we go. Now you might notice that when I apply the cement, I'm not applying it from behind. I probably should. And normally I would, given the way it's sitting in there. But in order to show you, yes, you can apply it from the front and just let it dry. And it's not going to hurt anything. You're not going to take the paint off. And if you do, you can always come in and with a little bit of back and forth. Don't push too hard because you don't want to bust your window panes there. Alrighty. It's beginning to look a little bit better, isn't it? As we move along this wall, it's beginning to look a little bit better. Now we've got to do the bay window. And let's see, the bay window should be right here. These should be the side windows to the bay here. So we're just going to take both of those off. And get those put in. Now you might be asking, well now why did you go to the trouble to paint it completely if you've got to be taking paint off to get the plastic to stick to the plastic? Well, the purpose of that is to make sure you've got a complete paint job. Obviously you don't want to take and and like I said, you really only have to get enough paint off to do the trick. Alrighty. Yeah, she's beginning to take shape now, isn't she? And of course I say that every time, don't I? I got a little on my finger. Oh no, I better call 911. Got a little glue on my finger. Alright. And again, we do the same thing over here. Ugh. Now, of course, you can use super glue or any kind of glue you want to use to get it on there. Yes, you're going to get some glue on the paint. Again, just don't touch that. Don't try to wipe it off. It will evaporate off of there and leave the paint intact. If you don't touch it, you won't have fingerprints in it and you won't have a glue bomb. Okay, we've got the side windows into the bay and we are ready to put in this window here, and that's the tall double window here, double hung window. Okay. And it's in. You want to hold it in till you get it glued anyway. Alrighty. Alright. Okay, we got it in. All right. Yes, my paint work is sloppy, but you know what? Even sloppy paint works better than no paint work. All righty. Another tall station door. Ticket room door. Waiting room door. Just scratch it down to the plastic. That's all you gotta do. And next thing you know, you'll have I'll tell you what, how are the holidays treating y'all so far? I'll tell you, it's being a little rough on my tummy. All righty. Alrighty, let's see here. We're getting there. Okay, I need a shorter window here. Well, not really. I need one of the tall windows. Alrighty. Yeah, it's amazing how well this happens. Again, just cut the little nubs off down on the bottom. No need to go and hit this thing with a file or anything. We're not looking for a perfect fit like we were with the walls. What we're looking for here is a way to get these are just windows. They don't have to look like they're in there perfectly. In fact, but they do fit very well and they are going in just fine. So At this rate, we're getting the last of the windows in on this side of the building. We're getting close to it. I still got to do that upstairs room, which is probably where the station master lives, with probably his wife and his kids. At least that's the way things used to work back in the old days. He was paid probably a very meager wage. All righty. Okay, so we're almost done with one side here. I'll probably I'm not gonna force you to watch the rest of it on the rest of the building. I mean, unless there's something that has to be shown, because we're gonna have to put some glass in here on these windows. By the way, these same things apply to building model airplanes, building model cars, you name it, it applies to it. And putting the windows in, as you can see, is pretty easy task to do. Not hard at all, and if you're not intending to paint the structure, well, then you don't need to worry about doing the scraping operation. Ah, ha, ha, ha. Boy, that one got me, didn't it? You do have to give it time to kind of set up. Is that correct? Huh. Yes, it does pay to keep the destructions there. Okay. Now I had it in right in the first time. Alrighty. Go ahead and put some glue right there and then slap this on. And then come back in and glue it again. If you do mar the painted surface, that's easy to repair, because you know, when using this liquid cement, it doesn't really turn it into, you're not going to have blobs of glue. Let's just put it that way. There's not going to be blobs of glue there. Then we got these two little windows here, which, yeah. Now these you're actually cutting from the top. And the reason you know that is because the window has to go in like that. It's got to match the other windows. All the windows got to match the right direction. And your window pane or your window ledge sticks out a little bit further than the rest of the model. So, again, nobody's going to notice it if you just trim the little nubs off. By the way, this is the same thing if you're scratch building using styrene. Okay, you want to flood it just enough. You want the capillary action to draw that in, and you might get some on your thumb and mess the thing up a little bit, but not usually. All right. As you can see, we're getting there. Okay, what did I do with the, oh, they're over here. That's not where they needed to be. You know, like when you're gluing in like Grant Line windows or Tichy windows and stuff like that, it's the same basic thing. You're going to paint the structure ahead of time. Okay, I see there was a little... Oh, okay. Yeah. Alright. Well, we'll just have to trim it over here. Alright. Alrighty. We got it. You'll have to excuse my, you know, I do have issues. I do have sight issues here. I lost the sight in my right eye a couple of years back due to an eye stroke, as they called it at what it was a arterial retinal occlusion. Alrighty, now we've got the windows in completely on one side of the building. The other side of the building is not going to have as many, and of course one end only has one sliding door, which I showed you how to put those in, and then the other end only has 4 windows. 2 tall and 2 a little shorter. Alrighty. And our windows are in. So, I'm going to take a little bit of a break and then show you how to put glass in, or how to make the glass. And that will be today's little lesson. Okay, now that we've got the doors and windows in, how about we show you how to add glass to those doors and windows. So you could of course certainly go to the hobby shop and get yourself a sheet of clear styrene. You could go to the you might even be able to find it at Hobby Lobby. Who knows? But one thing everybody does, including model railroaders, for the most part, we go to the grocery store, and we can always find stuff like this. See, I think my wife got this at Sam's Club, and what was in it was a fruit cocktail. The bottom one wasn't any good because there was just too much, what do you call it? Too much of this molding in the bottom. So, and it was concave, so it wouldn't have worked. But the top will work just fine. There's enough plastic in there to do this whole building, I believe. In the meantime, I am looking for my scissors, and I'm going to have to find them and put them to good use here. But I will show you how it's done. And this is also a type of styrene. So styrene cement will work with this, as will any other kind of glue that you're used to using for mounting your window glass. So let's get started. Alrighty. Now, I don't see my scissors anywhere, which is what I would normally use to cut this with. So I'm going to have to use my knife, my knife, and cut it with that. I imagine that the scissors that I normally use are probably sitting in the house somewhere, or I guess it's completely possible that they are sitting in this toolbox down here that I moved out here. Oh, how did that get us? Oh, that's because it's the whole thing. Alrighty. Let's just get this moved down here, and I'll open up this toolbox. And yep, of course I don't. Here is a pair of scissors. Okay. And these I've been using for like 1,000 years. Oh, there's the pliers I was looking for the other day. Yeah. Okay. Well, that works. Alrighty. Well, scissors. Okay. Good to have scissors. And let's see. What you want to get out of one of these panels, one of these you want to get the flat stuff out, which makes sense, of course. Oh, these scissors are not that easy to use. They certainly are not easy on my fingers. Alrighty. I'm about to make it a little easier though. Yes, you can get your pastries in packaging similar to this. You go to the grocery store, they pack cake stuff in here and stuff like that. Now you have to be careful because you want the flat piece is what you want. There's all kinds of these. They come in all shapes and sizes. Okay. And we can get down on this end, and we should be able to cut enough of this out yeah, this is the hard part. Makes you wonder if it'd be easier just to use tin snips on that. Ow! Oh, that's hurting my fingers already. Oh, crud. Didn't mean to bump the tripod there. Alrighty. Okay. Alright. I wonder if it would be easier to actually use tin snips on something like this. The problem is all my tin snips are out in the truck, and I don't really feel like walking out there to get them. All right, see, now we've got all this flat piece here of glass. Earlier I did get out and I painted the roof, starting with flat black spray paint, and then I used various colors to, grays and browns to do, and we've got it. Okay, we've got it. By George, we've got it. If you can see it through the camera there. All right. We're going to trim a little of that crud off. Yes, it is easier to cut this stuff if you've actually got a cutting surface. It would probably be easier just to use your X-Acto knife. And that's what I would, of course, highly recommend. Just use your X-Acto knife. So, alrighty. Oh, I need to sharpen that. I really do need to sharpen that scissor. Really bad. Alrighty. We come in here, just like this. And you can see that you got glass in there. And it will fit. And it will glue in with styrene cement. So, well, that figures. All right. And here we go. When I was manufacturing my buildings, my sinkhole lounge and stuff, and selling it on eBay, this is how I would actually, this is the stuff I would actually use for the glass in my buildings. You do have to get it positioned just right. But once it starts melting in, it usually does pretty good. Sometimes you're going to end up with fingerprints on it. Believe me, I get that. Alrighty. And that's pretty much how we start getting it in. Oh boy. It figures. Well, it's going in whether it wants to or not. Now, if you've got a stock of clear styrene at home, by all means, that's what you're going to want to use. And there's nothing wrong with that. But just be sure you flood it with some styrene cement. Probably should have taken the paint off right around the edges of that window, though. Huh. I cut this piece a little wider because I'm going to go to this next window over here, which is a little taller than the windows on the whatchamacallit, on the door, on that sliding door there. The way I've got it in there, we don't need to worry about it sliding. But I am going to go ahead and remove some of the paint here on this wall. Again, like I said, you don't have to take every bit, you don't have to get it to where you're perfectly down on the plastic. Yeah, of course you got a nub there from the mold sucker, as they're normally called. Okay, we just need enough to cover the window. And say those little pieces that fall off after you cut it off, don't just throw them away, because you'll be able to use those on other windows. Okay. Again, you flood again, you want the capillary action of the liquid to fall right into place. Because like I said, it is styrene type plastic. So even though it is recyclable plastic, it is a styrene. So you just kind of get it into place and let it work its way in. It will hold. This one's already holding here. And you really only need, what you need is just enough to fit around the outside of each frame of windows. And that way you have enough coverage in the glass. It's getting pretty tiring for me tonight. It's Christmas Day, and I want to play with my trains a little bit, and then I'm going to go back in the house and I'm going to go to bed. We've had it's been a wonderful Christmas. We went and saw our daughter down in she doesn't live down in Valrico, which is just to the southeast of Tampa. She and her fiance live in Maryland, but they came down for a visit. They flew down, and they're staying with her in-laws. And we went and met her in-laws yesterday. We had a good time last night. Dinner was lasagna, and it was very good. Very good. Because, I mean, everything in there was homemade. I'm not supposed to be eating lasagna, you understand, because it's bad for those of us that suffer from diabetes. But, boy, was it good. It was really good. It's Christmas. I'm gonna take a few liberties at Christmas that I shouldn't take. But okay, those are in. I'm going to show you one more here, and then we're going to kind of call it a night and call it for this video, because you should be able to. I mean, most of you out there that build models should know how to build models anyway. And that's just the way it is. You know what I'm saying? Alrighty. I'm going to go ahead and scratch out some paint here. All I've got in here is the primer. So it's going to scrape through the primer okay. One of the nice things, though, about doing this glass, since it's already plastic and you're down to the plastic, you don't have to scrape that off. All right. Remember, you can approximate it a little bit and be okay. Now we get those scissors. I need my other scissors. They're a lot thicker. They're actually X-Acto scissors. Alrighty. Okay, and basically all you need, just like if you're building a design preservation kit or something, all you need to do is cut out just enough glass to fit around where you need it to hold. Okay. Now, if you get some styrene cement where you need to put your finger, don't touch it right away. Let it evaporate. It's not going to mar that very much if you just let it evaporate. Just get your hands down on it and you let it hold. One of the things about getting glass into a structure like this is it will begin to get that finished look to it. And then once you have the roof on, like I said, I went out and I painted the roof sections earlier. And as you can see, it takes on a little bit. Now there's still some weathering work that needs to be done, some dry brushing on it of various earth tones and a little bit of white. And then we'll get it all set up. Alrighty. Okay, now I don't know if you can see it in the I don't know if you can actually see it in the camera, in this light especially. But yes, it is beginning to look finished. I can see the window glazing in those windows. These I haven't done yet, and I'm probably going to do those tomorrow. And then in the next episode, what we will do is attempt to get it You see if I can zoom in on that just a bit. Yeah, I know it's clear. It's clear, but you can, you can see there's something there that wasn't there before if you look at it. All right. So, until next time, happy railroading.